The garden of invisible faith. Have you ever poured your heart into prayer, only to be met with silence? Perhaps you've lost something precious and questioned why. Maybe you've worked hard, sacrificed everything, believed with all your strength, yet nothing changed. Or perhaps you're in that dark place right now, where faith feels like shouting into an empty void. If you've ever whispered, "Are you even listening? Do you even care?" Then this story is for you. In a small village where neighbors knew each other's struggles and triumphs, there lived a man named James. At 35, he was known as a man of deep faith. He attended church faithfully, helped those in need, and raised his children to believe in goodness and purpose. James had always viewed faith as a kind of agreement. If you live righteously, if you believe, if you pray, then you'll be protected. But life was about to show him that faith means something entirely different. When everything falls apart. It started when his wife, Sarah, fell ill with a mysterious condition that baffled doctors. Tests were expensive. Treatments seemed endless. As medical bills piled up, James prayed every morning, "Please heal her. We're doing everything right. Please don't let this get worse." But Sarah didn't improve. Her symptoms intensified. 6 months into her illness, the factory where James had worked for 12 years abruptly closed. His income vanished overnight. Now he faced mounting debt with no job to sustain his family. James prayed harder, more desperately, "Please, I need work. My family depends on me. I'm trying everything. I believe in you. Why is this happening?" Days turned into weeks. Weeks became 2 months. No opportunities appeared. His savings dwindled to almost nothing. Then came the call that shattered him completely. His mother had died suddenly from a heart attack. He hadn't known she was ill. He never got to say goodbye. That night, James stood in his backyard beneath a cold, empty sky. His wife lay sick upstairs. His mother was gone. His money had nearly run out. His prayers seemed to vanish into nothingness. He looked up at the darkness and spoke words he never imagined he'd say, "I've done everything right. I believed in you. I prayed. I trusted. But you've abandoned me. Why do I still have faith when it changes nothing?" He collapsed to his knees in the dirt, not to pray, but in complete defeat. "I'm done," he whispered. "I can't believe anymore." A final visit. Yet something within him, perhaps old habit, perhaps desperation, perhaps one last flicker of hope, made him rise the next morning and walk to the old monastery at the edge of town. If he was going to abandon his faith, he wanted to tell someone who would understand why. He wanted to see Brother Thomas, the elderly monk who tended the monastery garden. At 70 years old, with hands weathered by decades of working the soil, Brother Thomas had lived through war, loss, and poverty, yet had never lost his quiet, unshakable peace. When James arrived, Brother Thomas was kneeling among young seedlings, carefully tending them. "Brother Thomas," James said, his voice trembling with anger and pain, "I need to know, does God exist? Because if he does, he doesn't care about me." Brother Thomas looked up slowly, his eyes gentle. "Sit with me, James." James sank onto a wooden bench, and everything poured out. Sarah's illness, the lost job, the crushing debt, his mother's sudden death, the prayers that went unanswered, the faith that now felt like foolishness. "I did everything right," James shouted. "I believed. I prayed. I was good. And for what? To watch my family suffer while God stays silent." He gestured at the garden. "You sit here planting seeds and praying like everything is fine. But you don't understand. Real life is cruel. Faith is it's just a story we tell ourselves to feel better. It doesn't change anything." Brother Thomas didn't argue. He didn't defend. He didn't preach. He simply stood, brushed the soil from his hands, and said, "James, come with me. I want to show you something." The 4 plots. Brother Thomas led James to a section of the monastery garden divided into 4 distinct plots, each looking completely different. "I want to show you something about faith that most people never see," Brother Thomas said gently. "These 4 plots will teach you what your suffering could not." They stopped at the first plot, dark, freshly turned soil with nothing visible. "1 week ago, I planted flower seeds here," Brother Thomas said. "Tell me, James, what do you see?" James studied the empty dirt. I see nothing. Just soil. Exactly, Brother Thomas nodded. But let me show you what's really happening. He knelt and gently brushed aside the top layer of soil. There, barely visible, was a seed that had swollen to nearly twice its size, with a tiny white root just beginning to emerge. Look closely. The seed has already begun transforming inside. It's absorbing water. Cells are multiplying. The shell is softening. Life has started. He gestured to the bare plot. But if you judge only by the surface, you'd think nothing is happening. You'd think the seed is dead. But it's not dead, James. It's working in the darkness. They moved to the second plot. I planted these 3 weeks ago. What do you see now? James looked carefully. At first, nothing. Then he noticed tiny green shoots, no taller than a fingernail, breaking through the soil. I see something very small. Almost nothing. Brother Thomas smiled gently. These seedlings are in the hardest moment of their entire life. They're pushing through soil that feels like concrete, breaking toward the light, every ounce of energy focused on this one moment. He touched the soil reverently. Do you know why most seeds die at this stage? Because breaking through requires everything they have. One final push. Many give up right here, right before they would reach the light. They're so close to success, but they stop. He looked at James meaningfully. Does that sound familiar? The third plot showed healthy young plants with vibrant green leaves and tiny buds just beginning to form. These I planted 2 months ago. What stage are they in? They're almost ready to bloom, James said quietly. Yes. Strong roots below, healthy stems above, buds forming. Everything is working exactly as it should, but they're not flowering yet. Brother Thomas paused. This is the stage where people get impatient. Why aren't you blooming yet? You look ready. What's taking so long? But the plant knows something we don't. Rushing the bloom makes weak flowers. The bud needs time to develop fully. Not yet, it says. Soon, but not yet. Finally, they stood before a section bursting with flowers, brilliant reds, yellows, purples. Sweet fragrance filled the air. Bees moved from bloom to bloom. And these I planted 5 months ago. James stood in silence, overwhelmed by the beauty. The lesson. Brother Thomas turned to face James directly, his weathered face full of compassion. 4 plots. Same seeds, same soil, same water, same gardener, same love. The only difference is time and stage of growth. He walked back to the first plot, the one that looked empty. James, here's what you must understand. This plot is not failing. It's not abandoned. It's not dead. God hasn't forgotten these seeds. They're just in the beginning stage, the invisible stage. He knelt beside the empty-looking soil. If I stopped watering this plot today because I don't see flowers yet, then it truly would die. The seed would shrivel. The tiny root would dry up. But if I keep faith, keep watering, keep tending, keep trusting, it will become like that. He pointed to the blooming garden in full glory. 3 truths about real faith. Brother Thomas sat on the bench and motioned for James to join him. Let me teach you 3 truths about real faith, James. The kind that survives when everything falls apart. First, faith is not belief that God will remove your suffering. Faith is trust that God is working even in your suffering. Every single plot goes through the invisible stage. Your life right now feels like plot 1, nothing visible happening. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Beneath the surface of your pain, seeds are swelling. Sarah's illness is teaching you both something you needed to learn. Your job loss is redirecting you towards something better. Your mother's death is not the end of her love. It lives on in you, in your children, like seeds she planted. The seed doesn't curse the darkness of the soil. It uses the darkness to grow its first root. Your pain is not proof God abandoned you. It might be the very soil where your deepest growth is happening. Second, faith is watering seeds you cannot yet see. Every morning I water plot 1. To anyone watching, I look foolish, watering empty dirt. But I'm not watering dirt. I'm watering seeds doing invisible work. Your prayers are not falling on deaf ears, James. They're not echoing into emptiness. They're watering seeds of transformation you cannot yet see. Keep praying. Keep believing even when you see nothing, especially when you see nothing. Because faith is not about seeing results immediately. Faith is trusting the process in the dark. Third, faith is active trust that keeps planting even when harvests fail. Look around this garden. Over the years, some seeds I planted never grew. Some plants I tended died in storms. Some plots failed completely. But I didn't stop planting. I didn't stop watering. Because faith is not about guarantees. It's about trust that the act of planting matters, even when individual seeds fail. Brother Thomas reached into his pocket and pulled out a small cloth packet of seeds. Go home. Plant these in your garden. Water them every day, even when you see nothing. And while you water, pray, not demanding God show you flowers tomorrow, but thanking Him for the invisible work happening today. He placed the seeds in James's trembling hands. Faith is this simple and this hard. Planting these seeds in soil that looks dead, watering them when you see nothing, and trusting that growth happens in the dark. Can you do that, James? James closed his fist around the seeds and nodded, tears streaming down his face. Planting in the dark. That afternoon, James returned home and planted the seeds in a small plot behind his house. It felt almost ridiculous. His life was falling apart, and he was planting flowers. But something had shifted inside him. That evening, he knelt by the freshly planted soil and prayed differently than he ever had before. Not demanding, not bargaining, just trusting. I don't understand what's happening, he whispered, but I'm going to trust that you're doing something I can't see yet. Every morning, James woke up and watered his plot. Some mornings he felt hopeful. Some mornings he felt nothing. But he watered anyway, day after day, week after week. The soil looked empty, but James was changing. The first shoots. 2 weeks after planting the seeds, James saw a posting for a position at a small manufacturing company. It wasn't in his field. It paid less than his old job. But something inside him, maybe Brother Thomas's voice, maybe faith, said, apply. He did. 3 days later, they offered him the job. It wasn't what he wanted, but it was something. A tiny green shoot, barely visible, breaking through the soil. Sarah's illness didn't disappear. The symptoms continued. But something unexpected happened. The crisis had forced James and Sarah to talk more deeply than they had in years. They appreciated small moments, holding hands, watching sunsets, laughing at simple things. One evening, Sarah said, James, I don't know why this is happening to us. I'm still scared. But I feel like we're becoming who we're meant to be through this. Does that make sense? James thought of plot 1, where seeds were transforming in the darkness. Yes, he said. It makes perfect sense. The unexpected harvest. James worked at his new job with quiet diligence. He didn't complain. He helped others. He showed up every day with integrity. His manager noticed. For months after James started, the manager called him into his office. James's heart sank. Was he being let go again? James, the manager said, I've been watching you, your attitude, your work ethic, how you treat people even when you're clearly going through something hard. We're expanding, and I'd like you to oversee the new production line. It's more responsibility, and it pays more than your old job ever did. James sat in stunned silence. The job he'd thought was a setback had become a doorway. The blue. That evening, 5 months after planting Brother Thomas's seeds, James walked into his backyard and stopped in his tracks. His empty plot, the one he'd watered every single day while seeing nothing, had transformed. Flowers bloomed everywhere, beautiful and vibrant. He knelt in the soil, just as he had that night months ago when he wanted to give up. But this time, he wasn't defeated. He whispered, "You were there the whole time. Working, waiting, growing things I couldn't see." The next week, Sarah's doctor delivered cautiously optimistic news. After months of testing, they'd finally identified her condition properly. With the right treatment plan, her prognosis was much better than they'd feared. "I can't promise it will be easy," the doctor said, "but there's real hope now." James and Sarah held each other and cried, not because everything was suddenly perfect, but because they understood now. Faith isn't about avoiding the darkness. It's about trusting there's growth happening in it. Full circle. The following Sunday, James returned to the monastery garden. Brother Thomas was there as always, tending his plots. "Brother Thomas," James said, "I need to show you something." He pulled out his phone and showed pictures of his blooming garden. The old monk smiled warmly. "You learned the lesson." "I learned that faith isn't about getting what I want when I want it," James said. "Faith is about trusting that God is working even when I see nothing. Especially when I see nothing." Brother Thomas placed a weathered hand on James's shoulder. "Now you understand what I couldn't simply tell you. You had to plant. You had to water. You had to wait. You had to trust. And now you've seen with your own eyes. Something sacred always grows in the dark." A message for you. If you're in a season where your prayers feel unanswered, if you've watered seeds and seen nothing grow, if you're wondering whether God even hears you, listen carefully. Faith is not belief that God will give you what you want. Faith is trust that God is doing something beneath the surface that you cannot yet see. The seed in the soil looks dead, but it's not dead. It's transforming, building roots, drawing strength, preparing for the moment it breaks through into light. Remember 3 things. Your pain is not proof of God's absence. It might be the soil of your deepest growth. Every garden goes through the invisible stage. You're not in the wrong place. You're in plot 1 or plot 2. Growth is happening. You just can't see it yet. Keep watering seeds you can't see. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep showing up even when nothing seems to change, especially when nothing seems to change. Growth happens in the invisible hours. You might be closer to breakthrough than you know. The seeds in plot 2 are pushing through soil right now. It's the hardest moment. What if you're right there? What if giving up now means missing the bloom by days? Your season of waiting is not wasted time. Your unanswered prayers are not unheard prayers. Your silent nights are not empty nights. Something is growing, something you cannot yet see. But it's there, in the soil, in the darkness, building roots that will one day support beautiful flowers. And one morning, sooner or later, you will wake up and see flowers where there was once only dirt. And you'll understand, God was there the whole time. You just had to have faith in the invisible work. Faith is not seeing the flower and believing in the seed. Faith is seeing only dirt and watering it anyway, because something sacred is always growing in the dark. Keep watering, my friend. Keep believing. The bloom is coming.